I was victorious. Well, I won the Grand Prix, so yeah, I was victorious.
Oh, right, that's the second one you won.
But yeah,
Okay.
player from Florida, very good, very under the radar.
Top 8 our Season 2 Invitational.
Also that.
Like, there were 7 people who top 8'd who, like, everyone knew. And then, like, he was the 8th guy.
Right.
And it's like, he's from Florida. He's not actually a guy. Like, he's really good.
Yeah, he is really good. Doesn't travel to a ton of tournaments, but I think the Invitational was one of those things where like, oh, I qualified, I guess I'll go. And then he makes the top 8, which is not that surprising considering he's very good. And now I don't know, I think he might just be playing more Magic these days.
It's the Blue Devotion Mirror, which is where we are now. Merriam making a gutsy move, going to play a Rapid Hybridization on his own Judge's Familiar to eat that TIE-Binder Mage, which works out. Now, however, he has to steer down a Nightveil Spectre now, which is one of the best cards in the matchup. He's going to start by attacking 4-3. We'll see if it's a Spectre of his own. No, he has a Thassa, which is pretty good, but that means he's going to take a hit from the Spectre now.
Yeah, and that's kind of unfortunate. That's something that you never want have to happen, because the player with the Spectre gets to start running away with the game, especially in the mirror match. And you see, yeah, the Master of Waves comes off the top. Logan has the 4th land.
It's hard to pass this up.
And I feel like you run out the Master, right? Like, you take your chance. Ross could have, you know, another Rapid Hybridization or a Cyclonic Rift or whatever to bounce the Nightveil Spectre next turn. And in this case, like, if he doesn't have an answer, you are super far ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, Spectre is one of the all-stars in the matchup. Every card that you hit, you can presumably cast, or if it's a land, you put it into play. It's just easily one of the best cards here. Now, Thassa is also a great card in this matchup. The matchup is very swingy and back and forth, so we'll see if Merriam can catch up here, but he's certainly behind right now. He's going to start by tapping 1 mana. He will deploy a Cloudfin Raptor. Let's see if he has anything else to do here. Number 6 on our Season 3 leaderboard. Almost went back-to-back a couple months ago. Making you sweat.
Yeah.
Making you sweat. Thank God for Dave Shields.
Dave Shields is the hero.
Dave Shields won a very hard matchup, too.
Yeah. Where he was maybe 10% to win?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Maybe less, honestly. Ross ran kind of bad, but I mean, that's Magic. It's all part of it.
Yeah, you kind of have to lose that type of matchup, right?
Also, Dave, I think, played like as close to a flawless match as you can given the circumstances. Yeah. And I don't say that very much.
And Dave will do that from time to time.
Not quick.
No, not quickly, but
he will do that.
That's kind of how he gets there, you know?
A TIE-Binder Mage is going to come down. It's going to tap the Frog Lizard, as that is a green creature. One of the interactions that you will see in this matchup. And now, Mize is going to attack with everything but that Master of Waves. The Rapid Hybridization is going to go after the Master, and that's going to work. So Mize will get himself a Frog Lizard token in just a moment here. Nightveil Spectre will hit again, though. Yeah,
loses all of his elementals, which is certainly a shame, but gets a 3-3 as, you know, a little bit of compensation.
Mize's spells, as the creatures are all pretty stock at this point, they're all 4-0s. Logan actually has 4 copies of Rapid Hybridization, 2 buy-ins, and 2 Jace the Living Guild pack. Now, the spells in this deck differ quite a bit. You'll see main deck Domestications, you'll see Rifts. You won't see Jace the Living Guild pack very often, and you certainly don't see 4 copies of Rapid Hybrid that often.
Yeah, one thing to note is that Logan cut the Nykthos from the deck. Ross still has the 1 Nykthos, 1 Cyclonic Rift kind of package where you can draw into that in the mid-game. But I like Logan's list where he just kind of cleaned it up, recognized that stuff like Rapid Hybridization is very important in a lot of matchups, and that's a card that you might want 4 of.
A Master of Waves is going to come down here from Merriam. Now, however, there is a Rapid Hybridization from Mize. Again, he has 4 of those, so the chances of him having 1 is pretty likely. So that's going to come in. And there'll be some evolution that takes place on the Cloudfin Raptor here in just a moment. But now Merriam will also get himself a Frog Lizard. So there's a 2-3. And you have to imagine that's going to hang back on defense to kind of shore up the problems that he's having against that Nightveil Spectre. So back to Mize we go. And again, this matchup is super swingy.
Yeah, they're like cards like Thassa, Master of Waves, Ross's Cyclonic Rift. All those things can just break a game wide open.
Mize draws his card for the turn. He doesn't have a Thassa, but Merriam does. Mize has not drawn one of his payoff cards yet. The Master of Waves that he found was Merriam's, so he still has plenty of those to draw to. His hand right now, he has a Frostmourne and I believe 2 islands. That's really it.
Yeah, so I think he is just hoping that Nightveil Spectre gives him another big one this turn.
Yeah, but I can't imagine. I mean, the Nightveil Spectre is going to run right into a Cloudfin Raptor here.
Oh, that's true.
So nothing doing there. I mean, some damage might come across here, and there might be some trades. And, you know, Ross has to be a little bit scared of maybe some of the tricks that maybe Logan can have. But he gets the Brickwall Nightveil Spectre, which is a bonus. You see the Frog Lizard is going to bite the dust. There will be a replacement weird here. And it's a decent turn for Mize, but it's not a great one because Ross has the best card probably on the table right now in Thassa.
Yeah, I mean, in a stable board position where not a whole lot is going on, you just have, creatures running into each other, not a lot of progress being made. Thassa scrying every turn and then eventually giving your team unblockable is very, very important.
Merriam does scry his top card to the bottom. Now he has drawn a card for the turn. We'll see if he wants to proceed on this turn. Looks like 4 mana, another copy of Master Wave is going to come down, so 3 elemental tokens are going to join the party. Ross trying to do his best at stabilizing things here, and it looks like he's doing it pretty well. Let's see what Mize draws. Drew a copy of Jace.
Yeah, Jace is generally pretty good against like slower green decks. You get to play that when you have a couple creatures. Maybe they play their first creature like a Pelucranos. You get to bounce that, continue your aggression, and then you still have Jace available to kind of control your draws, maybe bounce something in the future. And that card is pretty nice in a tempo deck like this, but at this point he's, I don't think he's like too behind on board or anything, but Jace is not really enough to put him ahead, I don't think. Like, you get to bounce the Master Waves and maybe deal some damage, but the Master's just going to come right back down.
Yeah, the thing I could see him doing is maybe bouncing that Cloudfin Raptor to get a hit with the Nightfall Spectre, but that feels like a hope I hit the right card with Nightfall Spectre more than anything.
Yeah, I feel like the play this turn is play Jace, bounce the Master, and then try and sneak in a bunch of damage. Maybe you draw something like a Thassa and you're able to break through for the last few points. That might be his best shot of winning.
It seems like he doesn't have a lot of interest in playing a longer game here.
No. I mean, like, Ross has the Thassa going, and I presumably a bunch of spells in hand. He's missed his last few land drops, so I can't imagine that you're too favored in the long game.
Well, that's what Mize is going to do. He's going to bounce the Master of Waves. You see him play the land so he can activate the Frostmourne 3 times if he needs to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind an attack with the Tidebinder Mage, even though it can run into the Cloudfin Raptor. That means that your Nightveil Spectre gets a hit in.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trade-off there, right? Like, is the Nightveil Spectre actually getting a hit and getting a card, even though we don't know what it's going to be, more important than unlocking the Frog Lizard? We're going to find out because Mize is attacking with it.
Yeah, and basically no matter how Ross blocks, like, he's almost certainly going to block the 2/2 Tidebinder Mage or the 2/3 Nightveil Spectre with his Cloudfin Raptor, and then Logan can get in 9 points of damage if he wants, putting Ross to 4. And then if he does draw a Thassa, that should be able to deal him the last few points of damage.
That's pretty good too, though. Rapid Hybridization is not bad either.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, Ross unlocks his Frog Lizard, but it makes the Master of Waves in his hand not great. It makes it so Thassa is like that much further from being turned on as well.
Now, how Mize wants to use that Rapid Hybridization, we'll find out on the next turn, as Merriam is going to scry here. So we'll see what Ross wants to do with this top card.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot for Ross because he kind of wants more lands to be able to play multiple spells in a turn. Like, now that he knows that Logan has the Rapid Hybridization, he might not be really happy about investing his entire turn playing Master Waves.
There's Master again. I mean, Ross could be bluffing a 1-mana spell here, but it would basically just be Rapid, which I'm not sure if he has in his hand or not right now. So that's the card that Mize actually just has to play around at this point, given how mono blue decks look.
Right, but also it might just be at the point where Logan doesn't have that luxury.
Okay. Ross's attack to take care of Jace before passing the turn back. Mize draws a card. Didn't get a great look at it, but we know what he has on the table. 3/3 Frog Lizard, the Nightveil Spectre that's carrying a Rapid Hybridization underneath it, and then a Frostmourne that can very easily turn into a 4/1. And now it's kind of decision-making time for Logan with this Rapid on if he wants to use it, and if he does, how to use it.
Yeah, I mean, you could Rapid the Master, give Ross a 3/3, allow him to evolve his Cloudfin Raptor, but then he has 2 blockers, you have 3 attackers.
He's going to Rapid the Cloudfin. Get that out of the way so he can keep coming across in the air.
Yeah, and I like that play a lot. It ensures that you get a hit in, get to add another flyer to the table. So now 2 Judges Familiars when Ross is at 2. Like, that's very close to lethal. You have enough guys on the ground to not die to a Master Waves attack.
I'm trying to think of if Merriam has it out in this situation. I'm not entirely sure that he does. Yeah, and he's going to pick up his card. So Logan Mize is going to win game number 1 here over Ross Merriam. He's up a game in the Mono Blue Devotion mirror. You can see really the power of Nightveil Spectre in the mirror.
Yeah, that was a huge deal that game. And even though Ross had like all the powerful cards in the matchup, like the Master Waves and the Thassa, Logan was still able to sneak in like the last few points of damage, like largely in part to that Nightveil Spectre.
Sideboard time. You've got Merriam's in front of you. I'll let you begin.
I have 1 Mizium Skin, 1 Dispel, 4 Gainsay, 2 Negate, 2 Dissolve, 2 Domestication, 1 Biden of Thassa, 1 Jace Architect of Thought, and 1 Jace Memory Adept. And again, we were talking about this earlier where the blue decks sideboard a lot of stuff to fight control, and they don't have a lot of room for other stuff. So you see things like Domestication, very powerful on Nightveil Spectre. Biden of Thassa, not really what you want to be doing here. All the counter spells, Mizium Skin to protect your guy from removal, a couple Planeswalkers. It just looks like a couple Domestications, and that's about it.
No, we can't undersell how powerful that card is in the mirror, though.
Oh, it is huge. It gives you a lot of devotion, takes the cards that matter.
Now, Ross only has 2. Logan has 4.
Ross does have a copy of Domestication main deck,
Okay,
though.
so he's got access to 3.
It is 3 to 4.
Yeah, Logan has 4 Domestications, 4 Negate, 4 Dissolve, 2 Claustrophobia, and a Biden of Thoughts. A much more clean sideboard.
Yeah.
Domestication times 4 is coming in. I think we know that. Claustrophobia play any role in this matchup, really?
I don't think so. I mean, there are certain cards that you do want to shut down, like Nightveil Spectre, but that's about it.
Okay.
So if you're super worried about that, maybe. Generally, this deck doesn't want to overload on removal spells because it doesn't help their devotion, but cards like Claustrophobia and Domestication, like, you don't mind playing a bunch of those.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of a domestication off here in just a moment. It should be fun to watch. But while we do wait for these players to finish sideboarding, we will talk about SCG Game Night. It is coming here in September, which it's crazy to say is like, less than 10 days away. Because
That is
flies.
crazy, yeah.
Time goes by really, really fast. In no time at all, we'll be talking about con spoilers, and then, that Pro Tour in Honolulu will be taking place. But this is going to be a lot of fun coming in September. At participating stores, you guys can sign up if you go to StarCityGames.com/game night or on Twitter, #SCGN for more information. 2 pins and 8 foil tokens per week, new pins and foils each month. This will be taking place every Wednesday. It's a way for us to bring kind of our organized play to your local store in a more fun environment. Obviously, we're covering an Open Series, which is a more serious tournament, a competitive REL. There's money on the line, Open Series points, all that good stuff. But, this is kind of cool that we're able to do this, give away some fun prizes, and everybody can have a blast playing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm someone who grew up playing in local stores. I'm sure you did the same.
Yep, I
in
did.
Minnesota. So, local stores and supporting your LGS is a big deal, and this is a way for us to do that. So if you guys do want to sign up for this, October signups are taking place now. Again, StarCityGames.com/game night and #SCGN. Easy breezy, and it is worldwide, so it's not just us in DC that can play. It can be anybody.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's fantastic stuff. Again, StarCityGames.com/game night. As we turn our attention back to the mono blue mirror, it is very temple oriented. I have seen Ross win this match a couple of times, but it's back and forth, man. It can be anyone's game very quickly.
Yeah, you got to imagine that people watching at home probably, they recognize Ross. They know that he is a mono blue master. He plays the deck, does well with it, writes about it. But then there's someone like Logan Mize, who you're just like, I'm not necessarily sure who this guy is, but Logan is a very capable magician. And
Yes.
if you didn't know that before, you probably know that after watching that game. He navigated that game expertly.
Yeah. Again, top 8 at our Season 2 Invitational earlier this year when we were in Columbus. He lives in the Florida area. I imagine, his plan is to play in this tournament primarily to hope that he keeps the 2 buys.
Yeah.
Because you get 2 buys if you're 1st through 16th on our leaderboard for the particular season that you're in. He can work his way towards an overall invite at the end of the year if he keeps things going how they are going this year, which are obviously quite well. And then, he'll be here this week, and I imagine maybe stay somewhere here in the Northeast and then go to the Invitational next weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're doing.
Yep. It is a good plan when there are 2 tournaments right next to each other in the same relative area. And for me, I have like a home away from home in Roanoke that I can go to and spend a week. I mean, it's one of the most fun things about going to Magic tournaments.
Couch surfing.
Yeah.
Couch surfing, eating some good food,
It's been a while since I've done that.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That's true. It's harder to couch surf in Seattle. There's just not, you can't go from like place to place to place to place. It's harder. Boise's so far away. I know there's a PTQ there this weekend. There are some brave souls who took that drive.
How far is that from Seattle?
8
Oh,
and
wow.
a half.
Yeah.
And then they're going to Montana the day after for that PTQ.
Okay.
Which is also far away. And then I don't think they realize this, but then they have to drive home. So that's the thing. So you don't just get to go from Seattle to Boise to Montana. It's like, oh, sweet, I'm home now. You have to drive
you're
back.
like, oh, no, now I'm so far away from home.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Yeah, I would just take an airplane. I don't have it in me anymore. Merriam's going to take a mulligan down here to 6. I want to go to Montana sometime.
It's interesting. Big sky country. I lived there for about 8 months.
Yeah, I
something
want to
like
go
that.
there sometime. Little stop in Billings. Let's get a GP out there. Might not be that well attended, but you know what? Let's get a GP out there anyway. I don't care.
I don't know. I think Montana's doing pretty well for itself now.
Yeah?
Yeah. There was a store in Billings that we played at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll see if Ross can find a better 6 here. You know, you can definitely mulligan, I think, a little aggressively in this matchup because you have to get off to a fast start.
Yeah.
You can't keep a slow hand. You know, there are cards like Domestication that can catch you up, but when you take a look at Logan's deck list, which again Ross doesn't have direct access to, I mean, he's got 4 Rapid Hybridization and 4 Domestications of his own, so 1 Domestication is not going to be lights out. It'll be good, obviously, because Domestication's good in the matchup, but it's not going to be game over.
Yeah.
Both players just start with an island before passing the turn back. Merriam does have a Tidebinder Mage. We'll see if Mize has a play, and he does. It's a copy of Frostburn Weird. Merriam draws his card for the turn. See if he has a 3rd land to play, maybe a Thassa. It will be a Mutavault. Now here's a Cloud from Raptor before passing the turn back. Mize draws a Thassa for the turn. He does have a 3rd land, which he pulls forward to his hand. We'll see what he wants to deploy here. Not sure. Actually, it does look like he has a Nightveil Spectre, but he will go with Thassa, and that will get game saved.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, here I was thinking that like Ross was off to kind of a rocky start, a little slow, but that gain save just makes his draw come together.
And that's a card that, again, Merriam has access to that Mize does not. Now, I mean, Gainsay is good in this matchup for obvious reasons, but I don't think it's great. I think it's just good as a sideboard card.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, you really have to get on the board, and then it can be difficult past that to keep 4 mana open, especially after you side in a bunch of really powerful 4-drops like Domestication. It can be tough to manage whether or not you should be tapping out to domesticate their guy, holding up mana for Gainsay. What you really want to do is what Ross did, where he got to play a 1-drop and then still Gainsay Logan's next thing.
An attack with the Mutavault and the Tidebinder Mage will force 2 points of damage through, as Mize is unable to pump his Frostburn Weird.
Gotta wonder if Logan was trying to bait with that Thassa or not, because he could have played a Nightveil Spectre, but if you're in Logan's spot, you know, Nightveil's obviously very good, but next turn, if you have Thassa and you play Nightveil Spectre, that thing's on and that thing's coming in for 5 damage. Is that more or less important than getting hit with Nightveil Spectre? You know, and it's that type of thing where it's like, you know, I'm not sure what he values more. Like maybe Thassa was just the bait for this Nightveil Spectre.
It's pretty good bait.
Yeah, but then you do walk into things like Domestication potentially, but
Rapid Hybridization on his own creature.
Yep.
Means that he gets a 3/3 out of the deal. Merriam finding his 4th land that turn, but Mize played pretty well there to make sure that the Domestication was not a blowout.
Yeah, and that could be another thing where maybe he was playing around Domestication, just setting that turn up so he didn't get blown out himself.
Here's an attack with the Frostmourne and the Frog Lizard. 3 pumps, so getting aggressive now.
Yeah, so you see Logan with his own Domestication, but he doesn't want any of Ross's stuff. A 2/2 and an 0/1? No. I'll save it for something better.
Merriam going to draw a card for the turn. Will play an island. And speaking of something better.
I think that qualifies.
Yeah. Here's an attack maybe with the Cloud from Raptor, but I don't think Logan will be able to untap fast enough to domesticate that thing.
Yeah.
It feels like to me, just looking at the deck list, Logan's deck is better geared towards winning the mirror.
Even without Gainsay.
Yeah, with 4 Domestications and 4 Rapid Hybridizations, being able to interact a lot. I'm not sure how great Jace is in the mirror, but I mean, Jace played a role in game 1.
Yeah, it gave him that turn that he needed.
Yeah.
Like that Jace was good for 9 damage, I think. That was the turn where Ross was at 13, so.
Mize draws a card for the turn. It's an island. You see the Domestication over there. There's a Mystery Spell in the middle. But he's doing quite well for himself this game. As Merriam, all he could do is attack with a 1/2 Cloud from Raptor. Their card looks like, maybe that's a Jace there. I'm not quite sure. Don't have a great look at it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it matters as much as the Domestication in his hand, so.
I think there is some merit to potentially playing Jace and bouncing the Nightveil Spectre, getting Ross to commit another turn.
And then taking it?
Yeah,
Sure.
Because you see that, like, Ross's 3rd land was a Mutavault, and then his 4th land was another Mutavault, and then he finally drew that 3rd island and got to play it. Oh, it's a Claustrophobia.
Yeah, we figured out what the mystery card is, and that's still pretty good, honestly. This allows him to keep pushing his advantage and just domesticate the next card that's taken. Mutavault's going to get activated here. We're going to have a double block in the Frostburn Weird.
And that's good. So he uses only 3 mana to Claustrophobia it, which allows him to trade Frostburn Weird for 2 creatures.
Yeah, that's probably an exchange he wants to make, I think. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. And pass the turn back over to Merriam, who's going to draw a card. We were curious if Mize was going to bring in Claustrophobia or not. The answer is clearly a resounding yes. Merriam going to tap 1 mana here. That's a Judge's Familiar. And that's not all that impressive.
Yeah, not exactly the card you want to play on turn 5 or anytime after that, really.
Yeah. Merriam knows he's in a bad way. This is a really important tournament for him, too. As he's trying to make up ground on Lissette this weekend as well, knowing that Joe's not here. But at a 2-1 start, already down a game, and this one's not looking great. Mize draws his card for the turn. Again, still holding that weapon in Domestication for when he needs to use it.
Yeah, like pretty unreal patience from Logan.
Yep.
Just being able to hold on to that card. You saw Ross just like snap off Domestication first chance he got on turn 4, and that went pretty poorly for him with the rapid hybridization from Logan. So
yeah, I'm a little surprised he didn't snap up that Nightveil Spectre. I wouldn't have been able to pass that up.
yeah, but it allowed him to attack with all those weirds, knowing that Ross could double block.
And now here's another Claustrophobia. That's going to shut down the Cloudfin Raptor. He's going to continue to keep pressing his advantage. Let's see if this is a rapid hybridization in Merriam's hand or not. I think that's like one of the few cards that can actually help to turn things around, is that on his own creature.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a Rift on the token. All right, that's not so bad. Merriam's going to take 4, go down to 4.
Yeah, so Frostburn Weird versus the world, but Logan also has that Domestication still waiting.
Yeah, and even if Ross were to draw a card like Master of Waves, it wouldn't even save him because of the Domestication that's over there.
Yeah.
He would have to draw something like maybe running Master Waves. Now here's a Jace, that's interesting. Let's see if it goes up or down. It's going to go up. And now here's an attack, knowing that he can't take lethal. So he's able to get 1 point in here, almost for free.
Yeah, basically for free. You know you're not blocking next turn, and nothing outside of like Hall of Triumph really is going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind taking up the Jace there, because it is really like almost impossible to justify Logan attacking the Jace when Ross is at 4 life.
Yep.
So he knows that playing Jace this turn probably prevents a damage, and then next turn can draw cards as opposed to just playing it and drawing cards that turn. I feel like preventing that damage, not having to chump block with your Judge's Familiar potentially, is pretty important.
Mize, you see, reaching for 3 islands. It looks like we're probably going to have some weird activations here in just a moment. Again, his draw for the turn was a Mutavault, and we keep mentioning the Domestication that he does have in his hand. So here's an attack. Merriam is going to take 3, go down to 1. Now here's Domestication on this.
Yeah, so this might seem like a not very exciting turn. He drew a Mutavault, domesticated a 1/1 flyer, but now he has 3 lethal threats in play with Ross at 1 life.
What's interesting here, though, is if Merriam draws a Master of Waves, like, he's stabilized, right? He's going to take the... Yeah, and this actually isn't a bad draw either, because Judge's Familiar is not going to be lethal because of Jace ticking up.
And he has Mutavault and Tidebinder Mage to block.
Yeah, and, like, his Mutavault beats the other Mutavault.
Right.
And then Tidebinder Mage is probably just on chump. Well, actually, it taps the Frostburn.
Yeah, it keeps the weird locked down. So
he's actually okay. Like, now it's on Logan to actually draw a card that matters.
Yeah.
That's a card that matters.
I mean, that's a lot of elementals. With those 2 claustrophobias, it's very easy to forget those when they're on your opponent's side of the table, you know?
Now, Merriam does have redraws in this situation. You know, he has access to rapid hybridization. Domestication would be huge right now. He definitely has things that he can draw to get himself out of this. Let's not forget that Mutavault now is a 3/3.
Oh, yeah, that can get in there.
Yep. And, of course, Logan knows that, so he gets into the red zone. Now, it'll be a 2/3 with the Jace activation. So now Ross, I mean, he has to block, obviously, because he would be dead, but the block that he wanted to probably make, which was my Mutavault beats your Mutavault in combat, that's off the table.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. Plus, if he wants to double block and take down the Mutavault, Logan gets to kill Ross's Mutavault, and then a lot of the best cards for Ross to draw are 4 mana. Like,
Yeah, he actually gets kind of an interesting decision on what to take down with the Mutavault, right? Like, he can take down the Mutavault to knock him off of 4 mana, or take down the Tidebiter Mage, which untaps the Frostborn.
Yeah.
So
it
the
depends what
good
he's
either
scared
way.
of. If he doesn't want Ross to Domestication and take his Master Waves back, although I think even if that happens, he might still be dead on the swing back. So maybe that doesn't matter. So maybe the 4 mana spells aren't even that important here. Maybe Tidebiter Mage is the important card because it's locking down his other threat.
I'm not sure if that was the best possible draw for Logan. That turn was obviously a very good one. And Logan says immediately, yeah, get your Mutavault off the table. Ross is going to draw a card here. I think, yeah, he's probably forced to take it down now, which is not the spot he wants to be in. Going to turn over Island, Thassa. Going to reveal his Island. He's going to concede the game. So Logan Mize is going to win this match over Ross Merriam 2-0. The Mono Blue Devotion Mirror goes to number 14 on our Season 3 leaderboard.